Yeah, I was looking at web paint that be on Facebook, and this all regards to Whitney Houston um and Bobbi Kristina. Leolah Brown, well, web paint says that Nick Gordon changed clothes when he left after he argued with Bobbi Kristina before she passed out in the tub. And I'm starting to think at first, I'm not with Illuminati stuff, but I do believe it seemed to me they were killed. Whitney Houston and and what's it called? Whitney Houston and Barbara Christina. And the reason why I'm saying that because it's some evidence. A private investigator said that Whitney Houston, when she died, at first I did believe that she died due to what happened to her not on drug habit, because I'm a bipolar and I know I can't drink alcohol. She was taking antidepressants while she was drinking alcohol when she was in the tub. But it's the private investigator said that she owed money to some drug dealers, and they came from that hotel and killed her. Leolah Brown, her sister-in-law, on Inside Edition, the one who got in the argument with, because I didn't get a chance to talk about Bobby Christina's death. You know, this computer was broke. I did one video about Bill Cosby, and I was trying to take care of business, trying to get a computer, trying to get go to work, all the other stuff. And we all know that they say Tyler Perry, of course, scored her out of church, but Laura Brown, but she denied it on Inside Edition. They said Pat Houston, when Pat Houston got up, she said Whitney, uh, Spirit's gonna hunt you or something like that, and it caused a lot of uproar at the church. And it seemed to me she came for a fight. I'm sorry. And at first, I was against Leolah Brown about this because I thought she saw a mess in the church of the House of the Lord, and she was wearing tennis shoes, and I was like, why is she wearing tennis shoes with a hat and some jeans? And folks saying she coming in to fight. That's why she went saying no heels. No heels. You go to church, sometimes you dress all black or you wear something nice with some heels. You know what I'm saying? Right. If you're a female, I'm not a man, but female. So she came about 10 shoes in the hat, and you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh no, okay. But she said it's not true. I'm not think that's true, and I think actually the top of it is good because other people say they did. But she said she believed that Nick Gordon killed both Whitney and Barbara Christina. I'm gonna I'm gonna put the video link down there of her saying it. I'm also gonna link video about uh because since I'm having issues with my Wi-Fi, billing issues, and I still can get some internet. Okay, you would have to go to web paint to get about Nick Gordon change because the was the not prosecutor. It was the people who work for law enforcement say it was odd. Yeah, who would say that? Okay, good. Georgia Superior Court in Fulton County stated that he returned out. Okay he changed clothes. Okay, you gotta go to web paint. We're talking about Nick Gordon. Nick Gordon admits severe evidence in wrongful death lawsuit. Okay, and then there's someone put something else. Also, the private investigator, like after Whitney Houston died, said that yeah, she was murdered before Barbara Christina. And I remember Leolah Brown said at that time that be careful because she need to be careful because it'll be folks who not gonna care about it. Now she's dead. Seems to me Laura Brown, even though she's acting cuckoo sometimes, she is sometimes tell the truth. But I'm gonna say something before I'm gonna spill something out right now. Do anybody know a comedian named Joey Diaz? Coco Diaz. Joey Diaz, he's a comedian, but he's a former drug dealer. Joey Diaz was on, let's see, my name Fuck TV. Lord forgive me. Went to confession lately. Okay, that's on YouTube. That's the interview he did. I'm still podcast. Help me out with this internet stuff, y'all. Y'all know what I'm talking about, like radio show online. Yeah. He did an interview. He admit that he sold dope to Bobbi Brown and Whitney Houston. Um, he was saying, 8 ball, whatever he said and he was also saying, because he got an because he said when the Grammy night, And folks was commenting, was he talking about Enrique Iglesias? But no, he was talking about Ricky Martin. And with time Ricky Martin and somebody else, who is Marilyn Martinez? Somebody he mentioned in that video, he is bragging about how Whitney Houston won and Bobbi Brown won that dope so bad, and he even said, "Sing, forgive me, sing, bitch," because he making fun of Whitney Houston. Um, and I was noticing because what happened was how I know about this Joey Diaz before I found out because I happened to search drug dealers Whitney Houston a couple weeks ago. I think it was right after, or no, during August, because it's just talking about the Bobbi Kristina situation. Okay, and I saw his video, but I seen him before on television, not television on YouTube. He did an interview, and it was when I was this is when remember I did a video about Het Lavo. Het Lavo is a Puerto Rican singer. You remember El Cantante with Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony played Het Lavo and Jennifer Lopez played Poochie, his wife. Um, Het Lavo was very involved in Santeria. He was a salsa singer back in the 70s. Yes, I remember watching his son died, got killed. That was hurt in the movie. Okay, and I was talking about Para Achun Iyamama. Remember I did a video about that? Okay. And I was saying I'm not into I'm not into Santeria, no, definitely no. But I was saying that that I kind of felt that the vibe, Lord forgive me, the vibe of the song because it had an African melody into it, okay? And so because in the lot of Latin artists, a lot of Latin music has a lot of African, even cumbia, and that's come from, even Selena mentioned it in her about her review about Harlem music, because they mix cumbia into Harlem music now. It's just back in the 90s and stuff, and late 80s, I think. And they came from Afro-Colombians who made cumbia. Okay, it's a cousin to merengue. So what happened, and I found out when Selena had passed away, they talked about on Houston Chronicle, her dad was talking about that. But anyway, so I happened to find here, I want to hear interviews about people who practice Santeria. And Joey Diaz, I remember, he's a Cuban guy. You might think he's Mexican, whatever. Y'all educate. I said not every Latino is Mexican. He's from New York, or actually from Cuba. He talked about his story, and I remember seeing this big dude with a big old voice, very vulgar than me, okay? And he even bashed his Catholic upbringing. He said he stopped practicing, started practicing something. He left Catholicism alone, and he referred as SSIT. That made me mad. Okay, so I watched this video, and I think it was a long video. I had to go to sleep. Okay, so when I saw the Whitney Houston, this man, Joey Coco Diaz, talking about selling dope to Whitney Houston and Bobbi Brown, I said, wait a minute, that dude sound. So I happened to see this. So it was like recently, a couple weeks ago. So I said, when I saw this, I said, when I heard Leolah Brown said that Whitney Houston was killed by Nick Gordon, and then when I also saw the video of the private investigator said that Whitney Houston was killed by drug dealers. Okay, it's before Bobbi Kristina had died. Like a year out, 2 years after before, should I say? And I said, wait a minute. So when I actually saw a video of this man, I remember the accent he had. This very, like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? This mean, tough guy accent. Like, because he's raised in New York. And he's talking about how he, you know, gave the 8 balls and kilos to Whitney Houston and Bobbi Brown. He's saying sing B-I-T-C-H, talking to, and this white man laughing. So when I saw it, hold up, I said, so I typed on my phone, Joey Diaz Santeria. That was the same guy. That was the same guy. For real, that was the same guy that I saw. I said he did a video last year about his belief system in Santeria. I said, it's because just like he was vocal, very vocal on that radio show, he was very vocal in the interview about his belief, his religion of Santeria. You know, everything was a cuss word here, cuss word, he cursed worse than I do, okay? And I was like, oh my God. So it's like a small world. So this, I'm not trying to make any slander, defamation, character, it's something just tell me, since this private investigator said that Whitney Houston was killed by drug dealers, okay, and he had proof that she owed money, debt to the devil, that's why they killed her, okay. Police, I think the police in Beverly Hills or either LAPD, you know, LAPD now one of the biggest murder, okay, you know, they was, you know, they very corrupt, okay, you know about the OJ trial, okay, yeah, okay. Um, one of those police were in California would not want to investigate it, so, and Leolah Brown is saying that Nick Gordon killed both Whitney and Bobbi Kristina. Nick Gordon mentioned that he changed clothes in this wet paint article. It does say that something about a broken tooth, blood splatter, but I'm assuming that he has something to do with Bobbi and Whitney's murder. Bobbi Kristina, should I say, not her dad. Okay. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying, I wouldn't be shocked that Joey Diaz knows something about this, since he was bragging, and this was after Whitney Houston died, I think, about he gave drugs to Whitney Houston, Marilyn Martinez, Bobby Brown, and Ricky Martin, okay? And he was talking about it because it was back in the 90s or early 2000s before Ricky Martin had came out the closet and had his two sons, okay? He talked about it as well. And I remember seeing it on Behind the Music. I was shocked to find that Ricky Martin would do drugs. You know, very talented. I mean, a lot of stars do, but not every star does. And I mean, I'm big Ricky. I don't care if he gay, straight, whatever, bi, triangle, whatever. Ricky Martin has been one of my favorite male singers. Okay, I sing a lot of his music. I mean, I remember wanting to know when I was trying to learn Spanish back in the early 90s, trying to find out, well, mid-90s, should I say, trying to find out what he was saying. I remember him saying on the General Hospital, although the General Hospital was a boring, same thing. I said, All My Children is my favorite soap opera. Let me let y'all know that. All My Children is my favorite soap opera, okay? All My Children is my favorite soap opera. So, and Shawarma was my role model, it still is, and I watch Young West. I just couldn't deal with it. I mean, I don't think that I was trying to find out about him and Drew, you know, the other biracial girl that was on there. You know what I'm talking about, Kristen St. John. You know, he's one of my favorite soap opera actors. So you know what I'm saying. But when it was back in the 90s, but it was still a bore. Some of the storylines were very boring. So I stick because I love me some Janet Green. Y'all know who Janet Green is on All My Children? Yes, I love me some Janet Green. She was a killer and everything. She tried to be another person. Oh yeah, I love watching All My Children and Dixie and Tad and all them and Eric Kane. Yeah, my grandma raised me watching All My Children. And I always told myself, since I hate they put it off the air, that I become famous. I want to be on All My Children. I remember Noah. I mentioned from Otherville. You know, that's Keith Hamilton called hit the long dreadlocks, the brother long dreadlocks. Yeah, okay. So you know, and I remember watching Un, Dos, Tres, Maria, Maria on the version. What's the show called? And I can't. Well, they pay up too. It was on the Max. Yes, but I was trying to learn Spanish back 20 years ago. But then you know, Maria came out in '96. Yeah. So I remember Ricky Martin, you know, and I remember watching, and I have the Bebe CD where he sings La Bomba. Esa es la bomba, me mueve loco, he bacha de bomba, estas cosa linda, cosa mona, sube, sube que de bomba, va, boom, boom, te muere veta, otra veta mal, caras ni, caras ni, caras ni, I forgot. Nena, dame más, muévelo, muévelo. Okay. Es una bebita que va cambiando tu vida, una compita, and I don't bebe loca, loca de vida. Okay, sorry y'all. I got that CD with was it BMG? No, that comes on my house. Yes, I bought it. Shoot, when I got my doggone paycheck, I said, no, I didn't ask my dad or grandfather to get it. I sure did. So I'm sorry, because I want to learn the song, because I love that song La Bomba. So, sorry to get deep. out. Okay, and you know Whitney Houston my second love. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. This coming story. So Joey Diaz talked about that, about how he gave drugs to Ricky Martin and Whitney Houston Bobby. And me personally, I'm assuming, and you can call me an ASS out of myself. I'm assuming that this man had known something about the murder or the death of these two. Now, because he opened his Boca Grande, it means big mouth in Spanish, about how he gave money to some cartel. And I'm serious. I mean, because if I was working with drug dealers, I don't think I would mention all that unless I'm in a case and I got protected custody. Okay, he served his time because he got in trouble in the '80s because he was talking about in the Joy Diaz, the drug dealer who talked about in Santa Claus. I watched a little bit last night because I was before a couple of years last year. I just didn't have time to because also my old phone run out of battery and stuff. But I watched a little bit the other night, and he said that back in the 70s and 80s, his mother was on, she was on a bar, and when she was into Santeria, Santeria was not supposed to bring drugs in, but a lot of folks were bringing drugs. The godmother, who's an Afro-Cuban, okay, she was providing drugs. Well, I'm not sure. I hope I'm not making stuff. She wasn't on it, but she worked like those in front, like with Willie Colon. One of them Final Stars, Final All Stars, and many was in Santeria. Of course, I mean not say a Cruz, because I read her bio, but La Lupe. You know, I'm a big La Lupe fan. Teatro. Tú eres puro teatro. I love me some La Lupe. She's from Cuba as well. Um, and Het Lavo, you know, Para Chun Yamaya. That's for a Chun Yamaya. That's two goddess in Santeria, okay? And I believe in one God, Jesus Christ. Hello, okay? So I'm not into that, okay? So you know, Lupe had, I did a video about Lupe. She became a Protestant Christian. She became, because she was in Santeria. She left Santeria when she got sick in Puerto Rico when she was on welfare, okay? And some Protestant fundamentalist evangelical man who's Pentecostal came up and she got cured from some sickness and she later on became Pentecostal and she no longer did any non-religious song music. She sing Spanish gospel music at the time, and then she died in '92. So like a lot of folks don't know who like a lot of, even I mean I know she's not Mexican, she's Cuban, but even like you know like I mean other Latinos who did not know who are Mexican and other Latino who are not Mexican, both those who are Mexican who are not Mexican, do not know who La Lupe is. Of course, older folks know, okay, like you know, someone like Rosa Perez, she was born in the '60s, you know what I'm saying, and you know, and Lord be last, you know, she's from New York, so you know, but a lot of younger people don't know who she is. So, you know, but I read about her back in 2006, and I was fascinated by La Lupe. But they said she was on drugs. They said she wasn't. But like I said, the godmother of Joey Diaz was around that area when he was doing, like I said, when they used to do their worshiping services and stuff, the seance, whatever you want to call it, I forgot what it's called. These folks were bringing cocaine was getting big in the 70s and the 80s, and he was saying it in Santeria, and folks were bringing into their ceremonies. They were bringing the drugs there and get high on it. Yeah, for real. So that's scary. I'm not into Santeria. I'm scared of it. But if that, I mean, I can imagine myself in around people who do Santeria. No offense, if you those who watch it, I just don't believe in that. I just don't believe in other gods, okay? And you're doing drugs, so you invite a lot of different spirits in you. That just scared me, okay? It is. It's completely scared. And so that's when he said he got I read on Wikipedia. I think he got locked up for dope dealing, but then he went back to it because remember he lived in New York, then he moved to California, and when he moved to California, that's when he was selling dope to the stars because you know because you know he had godmother. I think I don't know was she selling the godmother of the Afro-Cuban. Was she? I'm not sure. I remember on his interview. But that's how he got access to celebrities. You know what I'm saying? Because his mom owned a bar. She was in Santeria. His dad had passed away. His stepfather, I forgot, I think something happened to stuff. But she had later on died. God rest her soul. Even though she wasn't doing too good with herself. God rest her soul. I show her mercy. That really hurt me when he said when his mother had passed away. And and we were talking about how Cuban. I remember the story about the Cuban police officer being ugly, rude to his own people. You know what I'm saying the SPIC word, being the Pocho type. I told you about that. Some Latinos put the Pocho type. What I'm saying? I'm from Texas, so that word usually goes like a Chicano. But I'm talking about trying to be white when you're a brown. You know what I'm talking about, y'all. So, I remember hearing him saying about it because I had to re-look at this video and put the two together. And when he said, and so I see why he had access to Whitney Houston, Ricky Martin, and Bobbi Brown, and probably other celebrities, because his godmother, I don't know about his mom, they had access to celebrities when they had final stars. You know what I'm saying? Sarah Cruz, one thing she said, she never done, when I read her bio, she said she never was involved in Santeria, never was involved. The music, the Yoruba, the African Yoruba sound, she incorporated in her music, but she never done no Santeria, okay? Because she was raised Catholic Christian, and her mother was scared when their neighbors would practice that stuff next door. But she said she loved the African music. It wasn't the Russian mother God, it was the African music that Santa Cruz liked, you know what I'm saying? Because and as I said, when I heard Pala Chun and Yamaya, it wasn't about believing in two goddesses. That's not true. They're not gods. They're false gods, should I say. But, I mean, to my belief, how you doing? It was the African beat, okay? It's what I like about Latin music. Many of the Afro-Latino slaves did not lose their culture like here in the United States. Okay, like I don't know nothing about Africa. I mean, I know a little bit about Africa because I have met African people, but of course, I mean, just like I'm still learning all about my roots. Um, the only two things I know, I know is Afro American. That's not African descent. I mean, the culture, should I say, is very Anglicized because we were, besides culturally assimilated, we're racially mixed too. Folks don't want to admit that. That's why what I'm saying. So you know, I'm still learning about my roots. So when I hear Latin music, even though I'm not Latino, but the African elements in it gets me excited. Okay, I like that drum beat and that sound. Okay, so that's the reason why I like. So that's why I'm saying I'm not going to change the subject about Whitney Houston and Santa Cruz. She needed to practice that. So I read her parts of her bio, but Lupe did, and Willie Colon, excuse me, Giant Pacheco, not Sarah, what's her name, La Lupe. And I remember when La Lupe had lost her contract, they put Sarah Cruz, in front, in front of her. She took her place. So, and so La Lupe, that's when she lost money. She was on welfare, and then she got sick, and then when she got sickness, and the Pentecostal preacher came by, that's when she left Santeria and became Pentecostal. So, but the reason I'm bringing this up because this man had access to celebrities. Okay, just to let you know something, man, we a big story about that and change the subject. He had access to celebrities, so I guess when he was younger, growing up in the 70s and 60s, 70s and stuff, and then moving to New. I mean, I don't know his whole bio. Still reading a little bit about it on you. It's read parts of it on Wikipedia. And then moving to New York to LA by coastal, shall I say? That's when he was already dealing dope, and his mom was also dealing dope. I think Minaj, I think godmother as well. That's when he got access to dope in the entertainment industry. You know what I'm saying? If you're young and you got access to dope and you got access to celebrities, of course, as you grow older, you know more pretty about how to get some dope from celebrities. And I'm shocking that. I mean, I was shocked when Whitney Houston was caught with marijuana. That's when everybody started speculating she was on dope. When she got caught with marijuana, and I don't forget in 2000, and this before the Grammys, and then people were saying that Rosie O'Donnell was making jokes about that. And they kept asking Rose to stop making jokes about Whitney Houston. And everybody was calling her, said she was on crack. When she got caught with weed before her cousins, Dionne Warwick did, that's what I remember. I don't forget this. I don't forget this at all. I don't forget this at all. And that's when folks started speculating that she was on dope, and we all thought that Bobbi Brown was part of it. But no, after Whitney Houston's brother said told Oprah, not the dark one, the one that's camel skin, one about me and Whitney Houston and my shade, Michael Houston. He was on dope, and he mentioned to Cissy and Oprah that he the one gave her dope. And that's when Cece started crying. I forget, it hurt my heart because I understand. I mean, that's her. She taught them not to do that stuff. Especially, she wasn't on dope, but she was in the business and she saw a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? She sang for Aretha. She sang for Elvis. She sang for other stars. Thing. So, you know, so she saw a little bit. That's why she told Oprah she didn't want with Whitney in what's it called, in the music industry, but Whitney wanted to pursue music. You know, besides her modeling. The one thing I didn't like about the Whitney Houston movie, it didn't talk about her being a model or seeing. I mean, I'm talking about her in, doing. Angela Bassett, I did not like that movie. I mean, no, because it's also Whitney Houston and Bobby drug habit in their relationship, and I wanted some more detail about how she signed the contract when she was singing in the church, that Baptist church she was going to, and when she was, what I'm saying, more about what she sang with Bashaka Khan, and what I'm saying, Marley and stuff. That's why I want to see how she grew up, and then go to that, But anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, I see the parallel situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to make any rumors. It's just something to feel when I, before Leolah Brown's interview, when I Googled Whitney Houston's drug dealers, because that's when I found Joey Diaz. And he over here have an ugly attitude. I'm sorry to say this about how he said seeing BITCH because she was begging for dope, something like that. Then I see a private investigator saying that Whitney Houston was killed by drug dealers. Leolah Brown saying that Nick Gordon killed Whitney and Bobbi Kristina because she's dead because they both died at the same doggone time. That's when I said, and I don't believe Illuminati and about Nicki Minaj at the Grammys. I don't believe that, but I do believe that private investigator. See, to me, she did probably owe some dope, especially when she probably was in rehab. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? When she was trying to get clean. And then, and I heard that Ray J was dating her. This is what I heard. I'm making rumors that they had something to do with it. That's why he didn't want to go to, I mean, he was a film, but he didn't want to stay, something like that, I heard. Because he was dating her at the time, and they said he was doing drugs too, I heard. But something is telling me that Joey Dees knows something about the murder. And then too, I wouldn't be shocked at Nick Gordon because Nick Gordon, I'm sorry, as I saw that interview with Dr. Phil, Nick Gordon had, he crazy. He didn't want to stay still. He kept moving. He was staged, he was playing around, and what I'm saying, it's just something didn't act right about that, and then too, if your mama kicked you out at 18, dude, you're grown. Go ahead and make your doggone money. And then when Whitney Houston gave you a place to say, make your money and get out their house. But I guess he wanted Bobbi Kristina. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? So everybody thought it was her brother. One thing I did not like the fact that the two lied and said they was married. And then when she was in the hospital, they found out she was not married to him. I didn't understand that logic. And then too, I agree with Lovey T about I did not know that Bobbi Kristina, not Bobbi Kristina, Pat Houston. That's the other brothers, not Michael Houston's wife. That's his. That's Whitney and Michael's other brother, one that's dark skinned, the one that's a singer. So Michael Houston does not sing. Okay, not to our knowledge. He was on Oprah when Whitney Houston had passed. Okay, his interview Oprah, whatever, and he sings good. I think one time they think Whitney Houston brought her on the show on Oprah. Yeah, okay. Well, Pat Houston is his wife. Pat Houston has what's it called? A Sweet 16 for Bobbi Kristina when she's 22 and she's dead. That didn't make no sense. I didn't understand that logic. I didn't understand that at all. Um, and the reason why she didn't have a Sweet 16, I found out, and where she said this, is because um, Whitney Houston had, well, I'm sorry, I love my baby. I love Whitney Houston. It's my second love. You know what I'm saying? It was 20 years, 30 years ago. I really loved Whitney Houston. I wanted to marry her. She was beautiful. But she caused that scandal. She scandalized Bobbi. Bobbi Kristina, and her Bobbi Brown. I'm sorry to say this. Um, she had Bobbi Kristina in rehab when she was 16. That's why she didn't have a 16. But it didn't make no sense to throw a 16 party when she's passed away. That don't make no sense. It didn't make no sense. A tour, a party bus. Come on now. So I agree with Leolah Brown. This is something shady. And for real, I'm sorry, she was cuckoo. I mean, but she did say when Whitney Houston had died, Bobbi still need to watch out because the people around her do not care about her. And she was concerned about her niece. And it seemed to me, Leolah Brown is not being crazy. It seemed to me she being serious. She might handle this in the wrong manner sometimes, but she seemed to be telling the truth. And like I say, I believe that Nick Gordon and then Joey Diaz, I don't want to make no defamation, but this is my own personal, freedom of speech is American, okay? Know something about it, I had something to do with the two deaths. I'm sorry to say this, because if Joey Diaz now open his big old Boca Grande and come on that white man show on podcast, there you go, podcast, FUCK TV, whatever you call it, whatever the show was called, and say all that stuff about him. Because I'm sorry, if I was a former drug dealer, I wouldn't mention no dog cartel. I'm sorry, it just was scared the heck out of me. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't, like dealing with a mob, okay? But he mentioned it on, and he bragged about how he was giving them weed, coke and stuff, you know, to Bobbi Brown and Whitney Houston, Ricky Martin, and some woman named Rhonda Monte. I don't know who she is. Okay, then so and then as I watched the video about Santeria, y'all look him up, Joey Diaz. I have a friend named for real. Sorry, I don't even say his name. I had a friend in high school. He's a Mexican dude. He's not a drug dealer. Okay, with that same name. I hope you don't see his video. Okay, and he and I was cool. So well, we were cool. Yeah, he graduated in '96, and I graduated in '98. And last time I seen him, he was at one of the colleges nearby. But knew back in the '90s. I wonder how he's doing. His man sister on my Facebook. No offense. I mean, no. I mean, no. This is no. Is it? I don't know. I was looking for him on Facebook, but I don't know. I think he married, got kids. But this dude who's dude from Cuba, who's from New York, who live in the Los Angeles or California area. Big dude. I'm saying this dude. I'm saying he reminds me. Remember on Ghost? Remember when Patrick Swayze was trying to find how to touch things as a ghost, and that smoker, mean spirited man had a deep New York voice, and he was mean spirit. That's what Joey Diaz, Coco Diaz remind me of. Okay, no heart, a very, I mean, how do you say in Spanish? Un corazón duro, a very hard heart, no feelings. That's how he. I'm serious. That's how he. I'm serious. I ain't trying to make fun of Santeria, but I guess I'm serious. I'm serious, heart and heart. I'm sorry. Um, I don't make fun. I don't make fun. It's just that when I think that's outside what I do believe in, and I know that it's not me too much. Because that's why he did not like Catholicism, Catholic Christianity, because there's blasphemy to mix the stuff that's in our religion with something pagan. You know what I'm saying? Something that's another god or something. You know what I'm saying? Not Jesus Christ or something. And he said that he didn't want nothing to do with Catholicism when he was in Catholic school. He left that alone. You know what I'm saying? He was introduced with his mom when his Afro-Cubans in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? In his white neighborhood, they went to but Irish neighborhood, should I say, in New York. I remember his interview, and I'm serious because, for example, we invite them different spirits. That's why that there was a pope or something was talking about. No, one of the bishops was talking about like the Ouija board. We don't believe in that, you know what I'm saying? Now, one time, that's one thing I'm glad, when I was converted to Catholicism, when I was reading my catechism, my Baltimore catechism, I'll never forget, it was talking about stuff in the Bible that talks about that. And I did not know the Ouija board was wrong. Cause I mean, see, cause I'm serious. Back in those days, you saw people. I remember watching the Beverly Hills 90210, and it was playing it. I said, "Ooh, we have to play that." Ooh, and I remember my grandfather on my mom's side was I never got a chance to meet him. So when I heard about his stuff, and I never forget, it was a Pentecostal who was not into Catholic, a Pentecostal guy who supported Catholicism. Try to say in my middle school had told me that's wrong because it was some sister. She brought a Ouija board, so did, and she's a Baptist by the way. She brought a Ouija board to the doggone school, and they talking about put it up, and I said, "Well, I want to play with it and stuff." And when he told me, when that white man who told me that, you know what I'm saying, that it was wrong, and I never forget, when I got my Baltimore catechism, I opened it up, and it was talking about the first commandment, and Ten Commandments, and it was talking about what was charitable, what was not charitable. You know what I'm saying? Believing in psychics and all that other stuff. I did not know that there was other guys. I did not know. Did I know that? Did I know that? So you know what I'm saying? So when the bishops were talking about biting spirits, I'm sorry, when you believe in that other stuff, that's when I know that other spirits, those other spirits, are not coming from God, they're not coming from heaven, they're coming from hell, should I say? And they would change a person's path. I never get. They'll change a person's. They'll be possessed. To the point that they have a different mindset, they have a different personality, and you know what I'm saying. And I see that a lot when folks who are involved, not everybody that's involved, but folks who are involved in that type of stuff. For example, besides Santeria, you have Santa Muerte. The reason why all them killings going on in Mexico with the cartels, many of them cartels believe in this skeleton false goddess called Santa Muerte, meaning holy death, saint death. Santa Muerte, that's what I mean. That's coming from, and the Catholic Church has condemned this practice. So I never forget. I mean, that's why all the cartels, like they cutting the heads off. That's coming from Satan. Okay, so when I see this man who believes in the West, Santeria, should I say, which is hardly no different. I mean, it's a different aspect and description of it, but it's coming from the same place. The man's hard, mean spirit. I mean, everybody have cussed. I mean, not everybody. Many people have said this, but this man does not have no kindness, no mercy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I saw that he's hard. I mean, I'll be afraid to interview. I had to say some novenas and, you know what I'm saying, throw some holy water, ask God to bless me before I go. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, you know what I'm saying? If I was to interview this person, I don't even want to go close to this person. So I see why he said sing Bitch to by Whitney Houston when she was begging him some cocaine. And one thing that I would like to mention that we're doing the cocaine situation, and I noticed when I was watching like City of Season 526 here in Houston, they called voodoo dolls and I know who Santeria was. I never forget there was back in '89 there was a cult. A white man named Kilroy. Was it Mark Kilroy? Yeah. He was on college in spring break. I was 9 going on 10, like an '89. There was a cult, cartel in the voodoo type clothes, Palo Mayabe. Yeah. I forgot what that man named. He was Cuban. They called him the Godfather. Although he was bisexual, because I found out later on in life, I didn't know he was a child. The Mexican girl, she like almost like a white woman. She was very light skinned. Um, she was involved in the cult. She helped, she helped lure people from, or either kidnap people from Texas who go across the border to Monterrey, Matamoros, and they'll go in and they'll kill them. I think they eat. I don't know, they have bones and stuff. Yeah, for real. And what happened was he was from Miami. He was Cuban, and not all Cubans like this. They're Christian, Catholic Christian, Protestant. You know what I'm saying? You have different, who don't believe in that. But this man was Cuban. His mother was involved in it. I'm watching it on Discovery, not Discovery Channel, one on the internet. I forgot that man's name. But anyway, he was like a brujo witch, they call it in Spanish. He believed in Santeria, pero yo know I found out later on that he did this talk that he did practice Santa Muerte. When he left Miami and went to Texas, like the Valley and also in Mexico, and he went to Mexico. He used the tarot card readings, all that stuff. Okay, when he went from Mexico, I guess he got out of luck, and that's when he got involved in the drug cartel. He had the cartel was they would bring folks. They were drug dealers, but they also would sacrifice these folks. Yeah, for real. Okay, I'll never forget this back in the 90 and like '89. So what happened was a lot of bodies being missing. And what happened, it was Mark Kilroy was one of them bodies. He went to bar hopping in Matamoros or Monterrey, one of those places, and that's when they found his body in Monterrey. They was looking for, they arrested all the guys in the cult, including the girl, the Brujo's girlfriend, and in Mexico. And when they went to go look for him, I think he was his lover or something, his male lover. They both killed. They killed each other because he was about to get arrested. Okay, and they would use that Palamayabe and I think it's like a mixture of Africans. It's like something like Santeria, right? And they probably was using something like that as well, voodoo and everything else. They would what they do? They would actually try to use that stuff to try to protect themselves from the police. That's for example. That's why a lot of the drug cartels who believe in something like that would pray and they think that something what because they can't ask God to protect them. They can't ask saints to intercede for them. Because they're doing something wrong. Okay. And so they went to something what because they're thinking they're going to be protected from the police since they're doing something wrong. And that's why it was Palmayave and Santeria. That's why they was believing it because they can't ask God. They can't ask that's what to pray for them or to anybody in heaven to pray for them or ask Jesus to pray to Jesus to ask them to be protected from the police when you're selling dope and you killing. You can't do that, right? It's a sin. So that's where this that's where you get my point. So they know that God's not gonna allow that. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna believe in that. So that's the reason why they do it. Some of these folks do that in the drug cartels. And I never forget, as I close, I do listen to EWTN on the radio, but I used to watch EWTN live when I was at my family's house on cable. And before Father Karabi got in some trouble, he was a playboy at first, and then he became a priest later on. He was a military man. He was a millionaire. He had all the girls, the drugs, all that. And then he changed his life and became a priest. And then he was a fiery one. Like he was like trust me, if he wasn't Catholic, he'd been the fundamentals with that fiery tongue. And I never forget, even though I didn't like some of the stuff that he say, I just brought some of the stuff, and then the next thing he got, he no longer on EWTN. He had some trouble. Um, so um, he left the priesthood. Because So I mean, my point is, if I was falsely accused of trying to preach to folks, do things for God, someone falsely accused me with some woman because of what it was. He supposed to have dated some woman, and she went and had sexual relations with a woman, and she admitted, to it, and that's when, he was saying they were lying, and he left the priesthood, so he's no longer, Father John Karapi no more. He's John Karapi now, like his original name. And what happened was, when one thing, I was listening to his commentary, his preaching on EWTN, and he said that this is what happened. When he was in his play days, when he was not doing no godly things, so his mother prayed for him to change his life, okay? when he was a playboy and he was in the dope, you know, and he was having different women and stuff back in the day. Um, he said that he seen people who brought drugs, and they would get a satanic priest from the Church of Satan or something like that, Satan or something, and he would, it was like a witch or warlock, and they would do a spell on the drugs. So that spell was on the drugs, where when whoever it used to will be cursed, you know, be possessed with it. And that's exactly when, for example, I've seen people get high and act stupid. So I see why, okay? So that's why, if you, and the reason I'm bringing this all this up, because you can link to it. This man who sold dope to Whitney Houston, Ricky Martin, and other celebrities, and his mom also was involved there when they had Farmer Stars, okay? You see that he, as we believe, I'm sorry to anybody who does not believe what I believe, but that we see it as the occult, okay? Santeria is, right? And you see that people in, I mentioned earlier what Father Karabi said on the WGN, when he was free at the time, that he was correct, even though I like some of the things he say, some things didn't make sense that I liked. He said, and so I would watch his preaching, his commentary, and when he mentioned that when he was in his Playboy days, that that's, you know, that he saw actually someone from the Church of Satan or some warlock, some witch, male witch, will put a curse on the drugs coming to the United States. So you get my point. You see that somebody who's in the Santeria, who sell this stuff, you see that, you know, he have a hard as heart. Okay, anybody that is a believer, you understand what I'm talking about. He have a hard as heart. He sell dope to Whitney Houston. He's bragging about it. He's laughing about it with the person on the station on that podcast. And then you see that Nick Gordon is getting accused of killing Whitney Houston. Nick Gordon, like he was high on that um, uh, Dr. Phil's. You know, he did. He looked like he was completely high. Okay. He, you know what I'm saying? He was acting out, and he didn't want to do an interview with Dr. Phil. I mean, it was crazy. Okay. And it actually is true. The people who are so dope, I'm serious. I mean, when you do the drugs, you do become a different person. That's a different spirit comes in you. Like, for example, nothing wrong with drinking. You know, like I mentioned about the interracial couple getting drunk and passed out and having sex in public. Okay, and Jesus drank wine. We go to communion, you drink wine with the bread. Okay, it's real alcohol. It's not, you know, Jesus drank it with the sinners. Tax collectors. They thought he was a drunk, and the Pharisees were trying to be holy and thou and narcissistic, try to say those Pharisees and scribes were. He drank water wine, but drunk. He never got drunk. He was self-controlled, and so you hear people who drink overly drink to get drunk. Their spirit come out. It's different spirit when they you know, when people do drugs, get high. Even though that no one probably never put no spell on cough syrup, but someone that gets high on cough syrup, I know that people do that as well. Usually they become a different spirit, they become a different person. They're not thinking they let something else control them. So when you're doing drugs, you're letting some substance control you, not you controlling it. And that's what I'm saying. When they put that spell on that them drugs coming to the United States, you see the fact that's the reason why these folks lose their jobs, um, lose their going homeless, they're fighting. They do. I mean, for example, the reason why a lot of child abuse, besides some people just being evil, shall I say, who are parents. Some of these parents, whether it be physical, sexual, or mental, some of these parents do drugs, or grandparent, whoever is taking child or get high, and they do become a different way wake. They don't know what they did, and they think I ain't do that. I see it on Steve Wickles show. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that these folks come in line, but when they see asking, was you on drugs? Were you smoking weed? Were you doing other stuff? They don't know what they're doing. For example, I use Tina Turner. When Tina Turner made that movie, what's love got to do with that? Doing her I Am Tina book, and has Angela Bassett play her. Okay, before Jerry Springer was wild and crazy, Jerry Springer had real topics on his show. He brought, what's that man name? Ike Turner, okay? Ike Turner said, well, Tina, I ain't do all that. Well, how can you know? When you sniffing cocaine, that's been possessed, okay? And it's two things. It controls you and it also possesses two different spirits. It's controlling you. It's controlling you, okay? You're not yourself. So you do anything that you normally don't do. Okay, that's why drugs are illegal. That's why, for example, I'm against weed. I'm not for, because these people are not, I mean, there are medical marijuana, I'm for that. But when it comes to people with recreational marijuana, no, these folks turn to different, you know what I'm saying? And they put spells on weed too, okay? So that's why they're so addicted to it, okay? So that's the reason why that I feel that this man have no heart. He got this other stuff coming in that have different spirits. Um, then two, am I not the perfect person? But I know I can just discern this. Okay, he have a hard heart. He's saying BITCH on this interview. When he sees Santeria interview, he's just not instead of talking to somebody with a calm voice, he's trying to talk calm, but he's still being harsh in his words. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking to Joey Diaz. That's why I feel this man knows something about that woman's murder. Whitney Houston's murder. I do believe that. I do believe he knows something. He knows something's up on about that murder. I don't think that there's no in the world I would think this man don't know nothing. If he is open to talk about the stuff on the internet. And then two, Nick Gordon, I believe he do something about it because Nick Gordon act like, I mean, it kind of felt like it was staged when he did the interview of Dr. Phil, okay? But I just think that Leolah Brown is telling the truth. And I do believe that the private investigator is correct about Whitney Houston being dead, being killed, excuse me, by owing some money. Because when she went, I guess, I must lose my hypothesis, when she went on, we call it, drug rehab, she left it alone. And I guess the stuff that because as Joey D said, that he was had to go. He was getting kilos and everything, going back into Whitney Houston Bible Crown, acting begging, getting a check and this and that. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So I guess when she was begging, she was into that heavily because since her brother introduced her to it, to cocaine. That's when she probably owed some money, and you know I think that it seemed to me she was killed. Yeah, just like I think that Michael Jackson was killed. I don't think that Illuminati stuff. I do believe that Doctor killed him, or tried to just didn't care about him dying. Talking about Michael Jackson. Let me read what I say before I close my video. Because Michael Jackson, let me tell you something. I don't care how much money you gave me, $1 million, $2 million, $1 billion. If I'm a doctor and I know I'm gonna lose my license and go to jail, I'm not gonna give you the drugs you want. You might go ahead and go to get off the street or something. I'm not gonna give it to you. You know, so you ain't gonna put my livelihood, my practice in jeopardy. Okay, and I refuse to do that. If I was that doctor, Conrad, whatever his dog name is, and the reason why at first I felt it was an accident that happened, but when, and I know that Michael Jackson was addicted to that stuff, I do admit that he was, but when Michael Jackson had died and this man got out of jail and Notorious said that he was killed, when Dr. Conrad Murray, Dr. Conrad Murray, when he sit there and said that he hold Michael Jackson's penis to use the restroom. He had to carry him to it. I would never talk about that as a man. I'm sorry. You want to talk about that? I don't care if he is dead. You would never want to talk about that type of stuff. And then when he talked about that Michael Jackson was jokingly saying that that's not his kids. I mean, that's no done topic. I do believe those his kids. I'm mixed. We all mixed. Black folks, black people classify black or Latinos, black in this country who have African ancestors here. Our backgrounds, that's why we come different shades. We're racially mixed. That's his kids, okay? I don't care what anybody say, okay? I don't think I know Michael Jackson had a problem, but I don't think he'll just get somebody else's kids and claim to be his. You know, that man, he had issues, like he had a childhood. I agree with that, but I don't think that man would go to the extreme to do that. Okay, regardless if he was trying to look, I don't think he was trying to look white. I do believe he did have the skin disease because his son had patches on it. You know what I'm saying? On his skin, on his armpit. I saw the Prince Michael's photo when he was at the beach. I saw that on YouTube. Um, and also to Prince Michael, the first dude looked darker now. You know, he had blonde hair when he was a child. Well, his mother has blonde hair. But as he got older, his hair is dark, his eyes are dark. And Paris, she's, she has a tan, so do he. You know what I'm saying? They look like white folks in some way, but you can tell they're racially mixed. And as a person who has a mixed background, who have ancestors who did look white, and have friends who did look like who's listed as black, and mixed with Creole, should I say? I'm mixed with Creole myself, and mixed with black and English and the American. I just don't think that man would just automatically just bring some kids. I mean, she said deal somebody's kids and claim that's his. I just don't, regardless what race they are, I wouldn't think he would do something like that. So that's all I gotta say. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that Cameron Moore just had something to do with his murder, Michael Jackson, and I do believe that this Nick Gordon and Joey D is suspicious in my belief. I do believe that Whitney Houston, yes, it was murder. She had to because it seemed to me, why would these two women, mother and daughter, be dead the same way they were dead in the bathtub? That doesn't make no sense. I can't saying she died falling off. Like, you know what I'm saying? But no, both of them were died all the same time. I understand both was into drugs, but still, it don't make no sense they died at the same time like that. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, same situation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, have a nice day.